very important for youth to participate in the democratic processes. So I'm saying it's very important now for you in this room to advocate for your fellow colleagues, youth, to be part of the democratic process. A few weeks ago, Yaga Africa organized a conference where they invited us, and they are presenting research outcome. The research says about 70% of youths that have intention to go and vote in 2026. One thing is intention. Intention is different also from action. Having intention doesn't mean that you are going to vote. How can you turn this intention into actual action? This is what I want us to think about. So I will not come back to the statistics because your colleague has already given them, and you know how big it is, the number of people, youth who are not coming to vote. But in the sub-region, we are living in a region called ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, which is today made of how many member states in ECOWAS? Sorry? Before it was 15, and now? Okay, now we are made of 12 because 3 have retracted and come out of ECOWAS. So now we are made of 12 member states. But among these 12 member states, there are at least 3 where youths are very vibrant and have brought about change. Once, not twice. I can name, for instance, a country called Senegal. Senegal, first change of power happened in 2000. Then another change happened in 2015. Very hard, a military man, he turned civilian later, but a military man does not change habits. You can change uniform, but the habits never change. But thanks to what was called Gambia has decided, led by youths, change happened in 2016, and now the Gambia is enjoying a democratic government. Another country where thanks to youth, change happened is Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, Burkina Faso has now left ECOWAS. But then in 2014, after a long road by President Blaise Compaoré, youth had to force him out and bring about change in Burkina Faso. Later on, of course, they fell again into coup d'etat, which led to their exit from ECOWAS. But this is to show that youth have a big voice and a big role to play. But you cannot sit idle watching youths can bring about change. But you have to believe in it. And you have to be organized. Not only to be organized, but also, as I said earlier, you have to espouse these reforms that you're talking about. You have to start it within yourselves. We at ECOWAS have started to do more advocacy with youth to make sure that they believe in democracy. But as we said, we were 15 before. Now we are 12 members. 3 have exited. And those 3 that exited because of their military rulers. They are having soldiers ruling them to put it up. But the use of their countries felt like it's better for them to be under military rule than through democracy. Because the democratic and we are there. But we are trying to obtain terms by doing what? By involving more youths into our activities, especially what we call electoral observation. Because every country organizes election. But the elections are only ratified when you have electoral observation. And ECOWAS is an institution that observers in all these civil organizations, including Nigeria. So now we have decided to organize a youth-only group of observers. And we have piloted this in the recent elections in Cote d'Ivoire, which happened on the 25th of October, where we deployed only youths, 22 of them, from all member states, including Nigeria, 2 youths representing Nigeria. So we believe that by doing this, you are trying to bring in more interest of democracy to the youths. And we believe by, in so doing, these now will also come to be more advocates, great advocates of democracy in their countries. So it's very important for the youth to participate in democracy. You cannot sit down, as I said, and expect that somebody else will go and vote for someone and then that person will come and do your service. I mean, do service to you. When you yourself, if you don't vote for somebody, somebody will vote for someone who will come and rule you, and you will not like it. So it's better you try your best. Make sure you go and register and vote. You get your card. Go make sure you go and vote, so that at least you can say, the person I voted for did not win, maybe, but at least I have done my best to have my voice heard. Otherwise, you cannot have your voice heard. And advocating just for reforms is not enough. When those reforms are to be implemented, you have to be part of it. But for you to be part of it also, you have to be in the process. So, I hope that you understand my message. We are here to promote democracy. We want you, because you are the next generation. You are not even the next generation, you are the generation that of the day. Because you want to wait for the next generation, I think it will take a little bit more time. But act now. Make sure you are part of the discussion. Otherwise, you'll be left out. Thank you very much for listening.
Personally, I learned a lot, and I believe that our guest also learned a lot from your speech also. Thank you very much, sir. And if you have any question for Mr. Mahmoud, please put it down and pass it to me. I will give it to him before the close of the program. Thank you all, and you are welcome. So we, at this point, we are, if you check your agenda, the agenda paper on your front desk, you will see that we are on panel section. And please, those walking around, if you're not part of the media team, please, you're to be walking around, because I discovered that while walking around, you are distracting the speaker. Please, if you're not part of the media team, please maintain a certain position apart from the receptionist and the media team. So we are currently on panel section. I would like to call on my second mic man, Mr. Ali Abbas, to come and call the names of those who are supposed to do that presentation, and so we can do justice to that topic also. Mr. Ali, we are waiting for you. Please, if you're just coming in, find yourself a place to sit down without distraction, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suleiman Modu. Thank you so much for that presentation. I think it's quite evident the whole reason why young people are in politics and democracy. And I mean, if we're not there, then who is supposed to be there? If we want to hold our people accountable, we also have to be there to be able to hold them accountable. I mean, it's also our right to know about democracy. Our own country, and we the people are supposed to be the ones to shape how it is supposed to look like in our own country. Thank you so much, Mr. Serema Modu. So now we are going to go into panel session. This panel session is going to be about the importance of democracy and youth participation, and also at the same time reclaiming democratic power for the young persons. So before I call on the names for the panel, we would like to set up the table for the panel first.
When we are still setting up the stage, I'd like us to remain calm and patient as we are preparing the best presentation for you. Once again, I would like to remind us that this program is being put together by Altus. Altus is an NGO, a non-governmental organization they've come together to put up this program to educate us on what we need to know. Sometimes what we already know, but they want to enlighten us. They want us to be enlightened. And if you look closely, you see our Instagram handle, our artist LinkedIn handle, and all social media, even Facebook. I'd like to encourage all of us to follow our official Facebook, Instagram, and Telegram pages to help us to advocate for the betterment of our country. I understand that so many things we are not happy with so many things going on in the country, but together we can lend our voices and we can make our country a better place. In addition to the topic presented by Mr. Mahmoud, youth participation in democracy is a very important thing, not especially for you, the young ones. I was privileged to go into election when I was 25 years old, and God helped me. I won the election even though it was the least of all political positions. I became the councillor of my ward in Benue State. So somebody came to me someday, he said, Ima, I said yes. Do you know why I will support you now and I will always support you? I said no. He said, you are young, you are smart, and you have the energy. And if you do anything I don't like, I can easily walk to you, either fight with you, beat you, or knock you to make sure I correct you. But you see these people who are advanced, I cannot talk to them anyhow I want, but I can talk to you anyhow I want. At least that is already a leverage for us. That was a leverage for me. And aside so many other things I participated in and I stood out, I trust that I am a living testimony of youth participation in election and democracy and all of this. I am a testimony of youth and I know how. So many times if we are conversing in our community platform, I tell them, if there is any councillor, apart from those who were in council during autonomy was properly functioning and all of that, apart from those people who were in office then, nobody has the voices, we have everything we need, we have the energy. Most importantly, something.
Our guest for panel is still on his way, one of the guests, and he apologizes, he'll be here in a bit. So without wasting much of the time, I'd like us to do a spotlight for our 6 rounds, which is supposed to be next immediately. We'll do a spotlight briefly and explaining specifically what every reform stands for and get to hear your views about each and every single reform. I would like to call on some of our volunteers to come and share with us a spotlight. The first on our reform is the full independence of INEC, ensuring operational and financial autonomy, free from undue political influence. So I would like to throw this on the floor. If anybody else could tell me what they understand specifically with this specific reform. Anyone, please? Full independence of INEC, ensuring operational and financial autonomy free from undue political influence. Volunteers, please. Reform number 1. Reform number 1. Okay. So this is a spotlight of reform number 1. Full independence of INEC, ensuring operational and financial autonomy, free from undue political influence. The whole idea behind this is so INEC doesn't have a third party hand, so there is a constitutional law that says that INEC has a confirmed budget every year that nobody messes around with or at the virtue or at the mercy of anybody else. This is more like a fund that is kept for them every year, specifically meant for them. Nobody has the right to tamper with it, touch it, or hold it back at any circumstances. That way, INEC is also an independent body that gets to maybe probably undergo election by itself. So just the way the general election is being conducted for general elections for the existing leaders, INEC may undergo the same thing by the people. So people get to choose who and who should be the chairman of INEC and probably other offices within the INEC body. So basically, that's what we're trying out on the reform, that INEC becomes fully independent without the mercy of anybody else, without having to wait for any third party to decide on their budget or what they should do or what they should not do specifically. So any questions specific on this? Okay. Number 2 is the compulsory electronic transmission of results, strengthening transparency and reducing manipulation. It's our knowing that even Doreen Mahmoud has promised us of electronic transmission of a result, and we all know the recent clause that has been enacted by the House. And so initially, Nigerians wanted, which is why we're looking for electronic transmission of result, which is basically having elections be transmitted electronically or at the same time, even in real time, because this is 2026. If we are not able to vote even when we are sitting at home, then what is the point of technology? What is the point of the involvement? I mean, I should be able to just sit wherever I am and just decide to log into INEX portal, verify myself, identify myself, and be able to just vote without having to go through the hassle of going to draw a line where there is likely violence that is going to break out without even knowing, and issues like that. So, but with the idea of electronic transmission, it removes all that from the entire hassle. There is no point going to draw in a line or where you're not sure whether you are safe or not. It completely swipes that. But even with the essence of what we are looking at, they say they are going to be using the BVARs and they're not even sure whether they can continue with the BVARs because there might be issues with network, so they're not sure if it's something they want to do. Then, however, it begs the question, why should there be an issue with network ahead of time when you have already put something in place? And the idea behind the BVARs is it takes a picture of all the votes that has been there and you will be okay, let's say that there's probably a glitch with the network. It has already entered the device. A third party cannot mess with it, right? Even if it takes 30 days for the network. Once the network comes, it transmits automatically. So why is that an issue? So I don't know if this is also open for debate or conversation within the room to understand what your views are on the electronic transmission of results. Anyone, please? Okay. I think that's well understood. And the third one is the conclusion of electoral cases, enabling security and INEC to exercise their voting rights. So, we know conclusion of electoral cases before swearing in, promoting justice, accountability, and legitimacy. We believe that for justice to reign and accountability to also be in place, we need all cases for intending persons who want to be in power for it to be concluded before swearing in. Because we realize that people get into power and all cases that were against them or on them gets to just flow like that in the water as if it never really happened. And that's not really fair. So all these things or anything that has to do with electoral cases should be finished before anybody else is sworn into power. Is this well clarified as well? Okay, thank you very much. So number 4 is the early special voting for election personnel, security agents, media, INEC staff to exercise their voting rights. It was until recently that I realized that actually there are actually prisoners that are eligible to voting. Do you know that? But because they are in prison, people hardly even remember them that they are there, and that's like a very big number as well. And remember, even by a margin of 1 to 5 persons, is actually a margin that can maybe give someone a chance to be in power or not, maybe a credible person that you should have chosen by yourself. So that is also another indication that there is a lapse there, because media persons might not be able to, media persons are also not able to vote, because in most cases, media persons are not able to vote in most cases because they are busy trying to cover most of the cases. At the same time, they are not able to vote for who they want in power because they are busy covering the entire event that is happening. Is this not a lapse as well? Because imagine the number of people in media, imagine the number of people that observe as well, that observe the election.
Imagine the number of persons who are also staffs of INEC, and just imagine that number to be precise. How many people have been exempted from voting? So that is why we are also spotlighting this, so people realize that this is also another problem that we face, and that we want them also to be able to vote, exercise their voting rights, maybe a special voting time. I think in other countries, they do a special voting up 1 week ahead of time. So 1 week ahead of the general elections for these special persons, which is INEC staff, election observers, the media persons, and also prisoners who are eligible to voting. So a week before time, they can easily have the accessibility to vote, and after that, general election comes, they don't have to worry about it because they have already casted their vote. It's only to follow up with the election process. And then the fifth one is establishment of an electoral conference office or commission addressing impunity and electoral malpractice. We have realized that because due to a lot of issues that are going on, our legal system has a right to, has been compromised a lot. Though it's not something I will give details to, but in more essence, what we're being here is when it comes to INEC cases, people who must have done some kind of form of malpractice or caused some kind of chaos during the election processes, during their cases.
Something happened. You find out that there are certain persons in high positions that will just come into the court and then decide that that case should be dissolved. And it's not supposed to be that way. A serious case is going on that has to do with INEC. INEC is not the one that is saying we no longer want this case to continue. Just all of a sudden, a third party will just come in because he has the power to do so, and will just say we don't want this anymore. That is unfair, and that's one reason why for this specific reform, that INEC becomes independent and that they be the ones to judge their own cases without the interference of a third person or third party. And the sixth one is the use of an alternative identification for voting, including NIN, international passports, or e-voters to improve inclusion. So it's quite evident. We are in 2026. A lot of countries have evolved with technology and all that, but till today we still hear the excuse with our own people that they are not sure that we can handle electronic voting. They even see the clause they just released that they are not sure INEC is capable of handling electronic transmission of its own. I mean, how can you say that? How long does it take to put this in place? How long does it take to put something like that? I mean, our WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter, we have seen how live voting happens. You can create a poll on WhatsApp and it happens in real time. You can create a poll on Instagram and it happens in real time. You can create a poll on Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, and it happens in real time. Now, why can't we do that on the INEX portal? Okay, a form of identification, and your NIN carries almost all the identification you need. So why then, if it's going to be hassle, because there are people with disabilities, there are people in diaspora, why must you use INEC voters card? Okay, if INEC voters card has to use, why is it not an e-voter? That's the reason why on this specific reform, we introduced something called the KYB, which is Know Your Voter. Just like the financial institution uses what we call the KYC, which is Know Your Customer. A situation whereby you only carry your app and then it verifies your face on the internet, and then you have access to whatever you want to do. The same thing, INEC is a simple thing. INEC can do this. How long will it take to just infuse something like Know Your Voter? Since every single person has a form of identification, either passport, NIN, or e-voter, you can simply just log into the system, put in your identification number, and then it scans your face automatically. There is no way in the entire universe can a face be duplicated. No way in the entire world can any face of anybody be duplicated, especially the retina. This is the one form of identification that the entire world have So why is it hard with INEC? Is it just a platform? Go in, register, enter your e-voter application or anything. You are in your dashboard. You can go and click on whoever you want to vote for. It identifies you. You vote for who you want to vote for, and that's it. So that's the more reason why we are also advocating for this specific reform, and I hope that everyone here is also basically. Please, with this specific there is a question in the room or observation, or even something to add, please, you can just raise your hand and we'll be able to you. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to speak as a youth and as a Nigerian. I want to return to the reforms. So the first one you might mention that INEC should be free from any political interference. I think INEC being free from any political interference will strengthen our democracy, because since before it was renamed to INEC, I think it was FEDECO. We have seen a situation whereby INEC chairman went ahead and announced the election result even if the collection was not compiled. We have seen a situation whereby the likes of Professor Jiga were able to at least bring massive reform that will strengthen our democracy. We have seen a situation whereby Professor Yakubu, they are also trying to bring something that will strengthen our democracy. But all that they couldn't have the political will and desire, because many are actually afraid, because I didn't expect for you to bite the hand that feeds you. So they are too skeptical to channel most of the reform to the full logical conclusion. Because in a situation whereby you are trying to fight someone that appoints you, you may likely mishunt yourself. And the other point is punishment of electoral offenders. I think it's high time for us to have a special court, in the sense that the court will actually deal with election matters, election result, election planning, vote buying, political tyranny, and the rest. So these reforms are actually welcome and they are timely as we are approaching 2027. And the first speaker spoke that youth are the instrumental of every development, every society needs youth. Because when the energy of the youth and the wisdom of elders are combined, we will surely expect something. And looking at the First Republic, our early leaders, most of them were youth. Looking at most of our African leaders, they were youth and they were able to put most of their country into the verge of development. But if you look at the contemporary youth, what we are actually experiencing is something that should just go back and cry. But I still believe having a town hall meeting like this will continue to strengthen the youth, and we should try and channel our social media in advocacy and calling for the reforms that will strengthen our democracy. Because to me, as a Nigerian, democracy is the best system of government, in the sense that you will be able to air your view, hold your leaders accountable, and you will expect progress and development. No matter what, with the resurfacing of military intervention in most of the African countries, no matter how, a democratic government, a democratic system of government is far better than a dictatorial government. So I really appreciate, and we should all continue to be an advocate of democracy, and advocacy will not solve. It's high time for us to move from advocacy to action. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much once again. I think there's really need for us to air out our voices, because it's really important. The more we let this kind of things slide, the more they will just keep doing what they like doing. The more we, the young people, keep feeling out of place. But until we reclaim our space as the people and the voices that needs to be there, and it is amplified to a point where we keep also calling on people to be accountable for what they need to be accountable. Once again, I want to really appreciate Accountability Lab for being here with us. We really appreciate you. We also want to appreciate Yaga Africa for supporting this initiative. so far. Thank you, Yaga Africa. And we also want to appreciate Sislak for also sharing with us this journey, and we welcome him once again. So the floor is still open for voice. It's still open for voice of the people, so you can air out your opinions, your observation, and whatever it is that you might likely want to share. So please, if you have anything to add, specifically on the reforms, please you can raise your hand.
Question, please.
Okay.
My name is Elizabeth. My question is, what about those people in the village? The reform. What about them in the village? Did you still get to them, or you still continue with the normal way they vote there? And then the second one is, what about the prisoners? When would they be able to have, would they put them in for voting and other, something like that, like the prisoners too? Would they be able to vote? That's my question. Because I've known for a long time now, I don't know Nigeria to allow prisoners to vote.
Okay, so actually that's a real specific reform. Interestingly, it has never been done in Nigeria. I don't think it has been so far. And it's supposed to be that way because there are prisoners who are actually eligible to vote. And in for the PVAS, we thought with the age that we are right now, it should have been what is normally sent to the villages. Well, we must have already evolved to a point where all we just gotta do is just log in the internet and then do our KYV, and then we just vote for whoever we want. But because villages hardly have access to internet most of the time, but I mean, in the today's world, we see even terrorists live streaming on the internet. And then you wonder when these people tell you that there is no network. What network again? Because I mean, okay, for the villagers, you take on beavers to them, elections is being conducted on the although they are voting, and you capture all that is needed, and then you transmit. We in the cities can likely just vote through the internet or the platform using our phones by doing the KYV and all that. I hope this answered your question. All right, thank you. Okay.
Morning, everyone. My name is Mariam Idris. So, evidence that a lot of I know you invited lots of people, but they are not here. This is to say that most of Nigerian youths do not really take anything politics, so to say, or maybe advocacy, political advocacy, very seriously. And sometimes you cannot blame them because when in an era that lots of youth claim these people do not really, we don't matter, they do not really hear our voices. Once you start advocacy, the next thing is arrest and what have you. So this is my own observation, and the question is how can it I'm so sorry. I would like to commend you, Ali, and your team for pulling this off, even if I know this is the first time and maybe it will get better next time. The attendance are disappointing, but I know it's going to get better. But how can we, because I'm going to join, of course, so how can we make this bigger? How can you convince the youth to join this movement? And again, in a country where patronage and godfatherism significantly influence politics, we know how these things are, you know how the existing power structure is. So what strategies can be implemented to ensure youth voices are heard and interests represented? Because most of the youth these days prefer to have godfathers. I don't know who created this mentality that if you don't have a godfather, you're not going anywhere in politics. You will not be heard, and in fact, you wouldn't, your presence would not be necessary, so it would not be important. So how can you, as a movement, I don't know, the out is right. I'm not a Gen Z, but that's how you call yourself. So what are you doing about this? How can you make sure that more of the youth join this movement, and how will you make sure that the youth voice are heard? Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Abdulmajid. I'm one of the representatives of the Altis. Thank you very much for that question. Honestly, it's a thought-provoking question. And yes, you are right. A lot of young people believe in Godfatherism, and let's be honest, can you blame them? People that have gone through life having godfathers have edge above all other people who have worked hard. That's the truth. Nepotism in this country wins at the end of the day because there's lack of accountability. So if an honest man sees, or a bystander sees an honest man who has strived so hard in their lives to work hard, to use their hard work to get to where they are, and then just because somebody else knows someone or has leg and arms, they are able to move ahead of that person. If you're a bystander, who do you think you will really go for? Do you really want to work hard and still get scraps, or go get someone who you know and move ahead? So I believe, see, it all boils down to the 6 reforms we are pushing, honestly. And most of it boils down on the fact that there is lack of accountability. People that do this are not punished. There are no consequences. There is nothing. They don't have any consequences. So they feel like, if there are no consequences, why can't I do it? So that mentality has gotten ingrained in all young people. Everyone wants to make it fast. Everyone wants to do things, this and that. People don't want to get involved in politics because they believe, oh, it's not of my concern. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to you. Because if you don't vote for the right person and then fuel increases from 500 to 2K, and you're spending like 30,000 in a week for transport, and then you're saying, the economy is bad, but you are forgetting that you voted for the wrong person. So where exactly? So all these things transcend. And what we are doing here is to promote, to advocate, where this is part of our offline activity we are doing. We also use social media because we are also targeting young people like us. And you're right, young people don't want to be involved, but we are trying all our best to use every medium, every possible medium we can to engage them, to make them aware, to give the sense of awareness for them to know that, yes, this is the time for them to stand for their rights. And you be saying you don't want to be part of it, you're not making things easy for yourself. You're just making things like harder for you. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know whether my colleague wants to add to that or purchase to that. Thank you.
Thank you. So due to some, I think we would like to do a photo session briefly with the representative from ECOWAS. So please, if you could give me an opportunity of a few minutes to take a picture with him here, and then everyone can go back to their seats and we can continue. Thank you.
Okay, for the photo shoot, we take this time for. Okay. Okay.
We will invite Yaga Africa, Sigla, and Accountability Lab to come forward for this section of the photograph.
Okay. Yaga Africa. Where? Okay, here for photograph, please. Also, to add to what Ikram said, you see, Godfatherism in Nigeria politics, it's something that you cannot scrap out. It's, understand. The idea is to kill your motivation so that you not stand up for them. You not stand up for your right. Now, if a man, like for example, if you are dressed to go out one morning and maybe your husband looked at you and said, "Honey, you are not looking beautiful today," you can understand what that means. Okay, we continue after the photograph, please.
It's not here. Maybe we can just shift. You can just. The Alten teams, Altis, uh, all join this. Okay, let's join. Very much. We really appreciate.
Thank you very much for that photograph. So, sorry, I can't remember your name. Can we continue with our conversation? Okay, like I was saying, godfatherism in Nigerian politics is something that can never be scrapped, because we all need an edge. Wherever you want to go, you need an edge. Like, for example, when I was making a brief speech, I said I was a one-time councillor representing my ward in Ukonyo ward in Benue State. Now, I didn't just get to that level. I needed someone to help me, and someone did. But fortunately, there are two types of godfatherism. I wouldn't want to mention names because I know this is going to go wild. Now, there are two types of godfatherism. There is one that extorts from you, and there is one that allows you to do your thing. The type I have is the type that allows me to do my thing, but she makes sure she guides me. That is why if you're a woman in this house, I'd like you to clap for yourself, because they are the best. My principal is a woman. She was a one-time House of Assembly member. When she gave me that platform, when she did everything for me and I won the election, she said, Ima, go ahead, use your money, do whatsoever you want. Just know that this is your stepping stone. Whatsoever you do with this position is what they will use to judge you if you want to come again tomorrow. I used that as an opportunity. I did my best. So, godfatherism is something you cannot scrap. Just like the example I was trying to give. A beautiful woman, you dress up in the morning to go out. Then you ask your husband, honey, how am I looking? He said, you're not looking fine at all. You and I know that. That day is already gone for you. That day, there is nothing productive you do in that day again. Because the number one person who is supposed to cheer you up has already said what he was not supposed to say. And then talking about how can we get youth to be involved in this advocacy and politics, just tell them, Emmanuel, if you have a reason to be here, then they also have a reason to be here. Like my colleague mentioned, if you don't stand up to choose, they will choose for you. And if they choose for you, you will have no choice. Continue on this later.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you very much for that. I think one of the interviews I was invited to at Voice of the People, we had a conversation that extensively made it very much clear that these people will keep recycling their own children in power, and we, the people, will keep recycling our own people in the same hardship and problems for ourselves. So you get to choose by that. If you want to keep sitting down, you want to say something? Okay. Where's the other mic? Can you pass it on? Just hold on a bit. We'll be running into the panel discussion now in a bit, immediately after the speaker just spoke right now.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie. So on early and special voting, it says enabling INEC staff to exercise their voting rights. Naturally, we've been taught right from secondary school in civic education that INEC staff are meant to be non-partisan. So are we, by this reform, are we trying to encourage them to become partisan, like to identify with a political party, meanwhile being responsible for election? And also, under same early and special voting, I don't really see the inclusion of PWDs, people with disabilities. I feel like we should have put them under the special voting because in the last election, I personally voted. I was a student as at then. And honestly, people with disabilities were not treated with much specification as they ought to be treated. They just kept them aside. If they cannot push their wheelchair to the voting stand, or those ones that use those boards that move on the floor, if they cannot get there and they cannot stay on the line, they are not attended to. They were just put at the side. So, and my organization, CISLAC, being a pro-PWD citizen organization, want to know what we're joining hands with to what's in store for people with disability on election reform. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you for raising that concern. So, for last observation about the PW, people with special needs, it is actually has also fallen under number 6 of our reforms, which is basically the idea that people can easily vote from where they are, especially people with disabilities and even people in diaspora. All you need to do is that the platform, which is INEC's platform, has already captured your data. So as a citizen, it's your right to vote from wherever you are. So we have seen a gap that needs attention, which is people with disability, and also being included in this section, because they cannot go into that chaos or have them wait in line for them to vote and all that. So that's the more reason why we're initiating or introducing what we call the KYV, which is the know voter. As long as the INEC platform has something like that, people can easily go there to make their vote wherever they are, even when you're at home. And it has removed the ideal idea of violence or all the chaos that happen during election processes, and all that. So basically, that's that for that. And on the issue of INEC staff, as much as they are non-partisan, they are also people. They also come from families, and we feel like they are also citizens. That's why we make it seem like a special voting specifically for them to exercise their voting as citizens, but that doesn't mean they are partisan, to either parties, or because initially what I understood by non-partisan is that they are not answerable to the leaders or any electoral party or stuff like that. So initially, being them as citizens, it's your right to vote for who you want to represent you in power. So, but at the same time, they cannot openly come out and say, this is who I'm voting or this is who I'm supporting. That's the main reason. But I don't know, if other people might have other reservations about that idea, but we just feel there's a massive number as well that is actually being left out during the election processes. I don't know if that answers your question well. All right, thank you. So right away, we'll be going straight to the panel discussion that we've been waiting for. The topic based on the agenda is uh, reclaiming democratic power. This just relates to the title of the program we're holding today, which is Power Back to the People. And based on the paper presented by Mr. Saring Mamodu, who is representing ECOWAS, and which is basically the importance of democracy and youth participation in democracy and politics in Nigeria. So our discussions is going to go around this. And first on our panel, I would like to call on Olayan Sanusi, who is representing Yaga Africa, to be on the panel with us, please. Thank you. And second on the list, I would like to call on Ojike Stephanie, who is representing CISLAC. And the third on our list, I would like to call on Ms. Blessing Andaba, who is representing Accountability Lab. Fourth on our list, I would like to call on Honorable Suleiman Moshood, who is a member of the Nigerian Youth Parliament representing Kogi State. Thank you again, once again, and it's afternoon already. So good afternoon once again, and thank you for joining us. And sorry again for holding out the session this long. I would like us to introduce ourselves and also share to the public what you do and how you contribute to a fair democracy, and what you think about on youth participation in politics and democracy in Nigeria. Maybe we can start with you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm by name Suleiman Moshood Obeza, a member representing Kogi Central Senatorial District at the Nigerian Youth Parliament in the National Assembly. The Nigerian Youth Parliament, which was founded in 2008 as a youth structure, legally structured, and a framework of the National Assembly. It's a youth inclusion body which enables the youth to represent their senatorial districts and also serve as a voice of the youth in their various senatorial districts in the National Assembly. And in the National Assembly, we are able to raise a motion on behalf of the youth and also address some youth inclusive policies that can contribute to the growth and also the development of our infrastructure that affects mostly the youth. And also it gives a platform that builds the youth for political engagement and also mentorship program that enable you to serve as a unit that can contribute objectively in the senatorial district. So Nigerian Parliament, we promote the legacy frameworks of the youth inclusion and governance, and also the availability for you to know that as a youth, you can serve as a voice of your people, and also you can contribute to the development of your senatorial district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Moshood. I would like to go next to Madam Blessing. Please, would you share with us more about the work that you do and how you are also contributing to youth participation on the reforms, democracy, and also in politics?
Good afternoon, everyone. Is this the energy we want to use to change electoral reform? Good afternoon again. Now we're talking. So my name is Blessing Anolaba. I work with Accountability Lab Nigeria as the Storytelling Development Officer. And part of the things we do in Accountability Lab, we work across 3 thematic areas: procurement, digital governance, environmental justice, and more recently, we are working towards advancing electoral integrity. And we also believe that increased youth participation in governance is one of the key drivers, right, to a democracy that serves everyone, which is why we have the Voice to Rep campaign. It's called Voice to Represent. And with this campaign, we've been able to mobilize over 50 youths that just come together. These youths, they are creatives. They sing, they act, they tell stories, poems, and all of that. And what we've done over time is to see how music as an effective tool for advocacy. So rather than just having them create, do their music, sing their songs, about how you need to make money, we just try to ensure that their music is geared towards effective governance. They sing about how governance can actually work for citizens across, so many issues when it comes to democracy and governance. So these are some of the things that we do. And over time, if you go through our website, you see the Voice to Rep campaign and some of the albums that they've been able to come up with. And over time, we've seen how effective this has been because one, if we want to have the youths on board, you have to reach out to them in a way that speaks to them. And we all know that music is one of the ways that you can connect with the youth. That's why you find most of them on TikTok. So we figured that rather than just having people or these youths dance and do all those things that they do on TikTok, how about you use your skill, right? You sing and just see how you can advocate through music. So yeah, these are some of the things that we're doing.
Thank you, Madam Blessing. I think, yeah, you're right on track. Mr. Sanusi, you can go ahead, please, and share with us. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Wow. That was like 5 seconds ago. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. My name is Olani Osanusi. I work with Tiaga Africa. And at Tiaga, or if you're familiar with Tiaga's work, you would know that we always champion youth development, whether it be in politics, for political participation, but also ensuring that young people in Nigeria are also active in public accountability, as well as social programs. So Yaga has 3 thematic areas. We have elections, where we do election observation and electoral reforms. We have legislative engagement, where we provide support to national and state assemblies. And we also have the citizens engagement program units, where we do a lot of public accountability programs, but also directly engage with young people could be around youth development policies, but programs that also strengthens young people's capacity to design and implement programs targeted at youth development, but also capacity to hold government accountable. One of our recent programs targeted at young people was us recently working with young creatives. Like she said earlier, young people are more. It makes a lot of sense if you're employing pop culture to engaging with young people across the world, because entertainment plays a critical role in getting the attention of young people, in communicating with young people as well. So we work with young creatives, for creatives across different sectors. So movie producers, artists, music, just basically people who use their creative talent to promote democratic participation, but also to talk about the ills in our society. But we also have an annual program called the Community Organizing Institute, where we train young civic actors on community organizing. We led, this was 2018, but we also led the Not Young to Run campaign, which successfully amended the Nigerian constitution to reduce the eligibility age to contest for office. Some of our youth political participation programs is where we provide support to youth aspirants or candidates who are contesting for elective office. This has been on since 2018. It's called Ready to Run, since after the passage of the Not Young to Run Act into law. So we provide technical support, we provide linkages with organizations that also have support for young people contesting for elective office. Our work also cuts across the African continent, in selected African countries, basically. But I'll just stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sanusi, for that insightful work that you are doing at Yaga Africa. I'm pretty sure we are a beneficiary as well. I personally am a beneficiary of the program's Community Organizing Institute since the year 2022. And I can guarantee you it's one of those programs that really exposes you as a young person to the democracy and also at the same time to youth participation in politics. Thank you. And going forward, we're going to Ms. Ojigi. Please, could you share with us?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ojigi Stephanie. I work with Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. At CISLAC, we participate in elections as we ought to, but also we come in as a monitoring and observation body. Yes, we monitor and observe elections. We also participate in voter education, going out to mostly grassroots to educate people on voting, also voters registration also. Then CISLAC also serves as a supporting body to other organizations, especially youth-led organizations on voting and election, like Not Too Young to Run, an organization. We also work on advocacy for electoral reform and also support citizen engagement by encouraging citizens to participate in elections. CISLAC also gives room to smaller organizations to work directly to the people while being the cover body. So we encourage young organizations, especially youth-led organizations, to go out there and support the electoral processes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ojigi. That is quite insightful. Thank you so much for all that you do as well. I've heard everyone, and I must commend you all for what you're doing, especially Yaga, who is supporting this initiative precisely for all that we are doing. So going forward, I have a few questions that I would like to share and throw away for perspectives and opinions to be shared on these specific questions that aligns with our democracy today and youth participations in politics. So the first questions I would like to throw out here is, if citizens are the true owners of democracy, why does the electoral system often feel like it is designed to protect politicians instead of the voters? Does anybody want to answer that? If citizens are the true owners of democracy, why does it feel like it is designed to protect the politicians instead of the voters and the people themselves?
Why does it feel like policies are meant to protect politicians if citizens are? Well, I think you'd agree with me today that in Nigeria, Nigeria's democracy participation is low, right? The demographic who participates more in Nigeria's democracy are elderly people, right? But let's not even get into that. I think why it would look that way is down to our political actors. There's no functioning democracy without participation, right? Regardless of how perfect the system may be, you have to participate because the idea is that you elect leaders who represent your wishes, who further your interests or protect your interests, as the case may be. But if you elect leaders and you let them roam free, you let them roam wild, without trying to hold them accountable, without paying attention to policies that are being formulated in the country, without paying attention to governance as a whole, and then you have people who would always only further their own interests. I know if you talk about participation in Nigeria, people look at you, some ask the question, how do we participate? How can we participate? What exactly can we do? But some also believe that participation is only limited to voting in elections. but it goes beyond that. Yes, voting is one key aspect of it, but more importantly is also being present, understanding the governance process, understanding that you have to continuously engage with elected leaders or public officials to continuously try to hold them accountable. Ask questions, don't hesitate to engage with them. All of these actions get to keep our leaders on their toes. And if we do that on a large scale, as we've seen in societies with functioning democracy, then largely the policies, the actions of government will always reflect the needs of citizens. So it's the dearth in participation, in political participation in Nigeria, that makes it look like democracy is only serving the interest of our political leaders or politicians. I bet you if we change our body language or behavior towards political participation in the country, they will start seeing results that reflect the needs of citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sure.
Okay, so I would just like to say that I think we have policies, and these policies are meant to protect the citizens. But what we've seen over time is that because implementation is very poor or nothing at all, citizens are oftentimes discouraged, right, to participate in governance. And I say this from a place of experience. I mentioned earlier that Accountability Lab, we work across digital governance. And one of the things we try to advocate for is freedom of expression. And then the Nigerian Constitution says that as a citizen, you have the right to freely express. But then, what is currently obtainable is that when journalists, civil society groups, active citizens try to engage, they get abducted, they get detained unjustly, they get picked up. And then I also remember that there was a time we were having these roundtable conversations with media personnel, and they were talking about how they've gotten to that point where they can't even type something as simple as LOL on any governance-related conversation online because they are scared that it might be misinterpreted and they might be picked up. So I feel like that thing where we have policies, there's no implementation, or the government they find a way to just twist it and manipulate the citizens. Rather than making policies work for them, policy works against the citizens. So that situation lingering over time has made so many citizens less interested in governance. That's why it may seem as though people are not interested, and policies that are made for citizens are now working against the citizens and protecting the politicians themselves. So I think what we need in this instance is just to have people who are fearless, right? The likes of Aisha Yusufu. I remember one time we had a webinar last year and we brought her on board, and she was speaking so passionately about how she goes about her work every day. So I feel like the first thing that the youth or the citizens need to have, which I don't see how possible it is, well, it might be, is just to have that fearlessness, right? To question the norm. People are protesting outside now. How many of us? I don't know how many people showed up for the rally on Saturday. I was not there, but I had another engagement. But we need more citizens who are active and also fearless. I feel like that's the way out of all of this. That's the way that policy begins to work. If they bring out, like, they want to amend the Electoral Act now, the new conversation about no technology, yes technology, we have people who are pushing against it. It will go a long way in ensuring that the policy is not just protecting the politicians, but the citizens themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, I think I have to talk about the issues of law guiding, most especially the politicians, because as a youth, which I am, as a member of Nigeria Youth Parliament, And when it comes to the legislative framework, you talked about the policy making. The youths, most especially, have to think about how they can be part of the government, not even actually who the law is made for. Because those people you felt that are the politicians today fought their way up there. And when they get there, they are able to make a policy that favors them. What if we as a youth are being able to get up there and push a policy that can, support our vision, our mission, or what we think it can be for? Just for example, the Nigerian Parliament was able to, in our last sitting on 15, the National Assembly, were able to come up with a motion, which by God's grace will become a bill in the National Assembly to give that privilege to 35 years of age to be appointed into a federal executive council, both in federal and the state level. Are you getting my point? The federal executive and the state executive council, these are the places where decisions are being made, especially when you talk about governance in the arms of the government. So if we as a people who want our voice to be heard, instead of, though I'm not against those people who protest, but I am the type that believes in a dialogue and in a way that things can be done by putting our people there. So I so much believe that we have to channel our energy in trying to belong and also find our way out there to belong. And when we have people there, we are being able to tell them what we want you to help us to champion when you get there. So that, at the end of the time, we are part of it. We are not just trying to be part of it, but we are part of it and we are part of the decision making. I think that is what I think it will be more helpful to what is the current situation of the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moshood, as well. Thank you for that response, Yaga Africa and Accountability Lab. Thank you so much, Slack. So these questions I will be asking now is directly to each one of you specifically. I will start with Slack. So the question says, is INEC truly independent in practice or only on paper? What structural reforms will make that independence become real?
Well, we all know if we are saying if it's independent, either it's on paper or in the actual sense, it all boils down to corruption. Because INEC as an electoral body, when we all have expectations for INEC and we know what INEC is meant to stand as, an independent body, but then there are people in this independent body, in air quotes, that are corrupt. Over and over and over again, they will say they are removing people from INEC because of corrupt practices. But at the end of the day, they just keep doing rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. They just keep bringing people with different faces, but the same storyline. So, reforms that we can try to advocate for to be put in place are like, for instance, CISLAC looks for transparency. So I'm thinking it's more positive that when they bring these people, they don't just appoint them. They, how do I put it? They set the goose free for Nigerians to see what these people have. Like, they should put their profile, more than just their profile, on the internet. I'm not talking Wikipedia pages. They should put their profiles on the INEC page and be like, oh, these are the people we want to bring into our body. That's INEC. So electoral reforms, like, it's not only e-voting, but we should have like e-profiles of these people to see, oh, these where these people have worked, and we'll have access to their records political space, so they should be open and accessible to us. We should know that, oh, this is where these people have been. This is where they are. Well, it's not that you just go out, you just bring a professor from a school and say, oh, electing this one chairman of INEC. No, bring their profiles out. Let's see where they have worked, where they have gone to. It's not the one that they will go to one school. They will be harassing students, and the same people will bring them to us. We already know that these people don't have good background, so we want to have we want to have access to their background. So we, alongside the e-transmission of voting, we should ask for like e-profiling of these people, so that we know that, okay, it's not just on paper. We know the people responsible, name by name, and people we can hold accountable for what goes right and what also goes wrong. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insight. The next question is for you, Mr. Sanusi. So the question says, okay, it says, how does poor electoral transparency affects Nigerian economy? Perhaps this way, how does the lack of compulsory electronic transmission weaken the public trust in elections?
Does that question not answer itself? I mean, lack of trust, public distrust fuels a lot of citizens' grievance against government in Nigeria, particularly in elections. You just have to look at how the 2023 general elections ended to understand what electronic transmission of results would do to public trust ahead of the 2027 general election. And further than that, I think the body language of the Senate in particular now, trying to be clever with their own passage of that section of the Electoral Act, also calls into question if they really understand that they are representatives of the people and they are not there for themselves, right? Because if the Nigerian public, if people are clamoring for electronic transmission of results to be imputed in our electoral act, and the Senate, I mean, just one institution in our governance architecture is refusing to heed that call, then it goes to show that they don't respect the wishes of citizens, they don't respect the wishes of Nigerians, and they feel that they are just senators for their own benefits. I really hope that we still get a large turnout in the upcoming general elections, because if the Senate had passed the version the House passed, it would increase trust in our elections. People would have that confidence going to the polls that yes, maybe we have a chance for election results to truly count, or our voting choices our votes to truly count in the election. I think it's sad what the Senate has done. It also affects the fabric of trust between citizens and government, between state and society. But as citizens, I think I would round this up by saying we shouldn't just sit back, fold our arms, and let the Senate get away with this. We should, as a matter of fact, reach out to these people, engage them in a civilized manner, of course, and let them know that, yo, this is what Nigerians want. And it's baffling how they don't even see how this would greatly increase citizens' confidence ahead of the polls. But I think we should take the fights to them. We should keep mobilizing and clamoring for the Senate to do the right thing and pass the version the House passed. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sanusi, for that insight as well. Thank you very much. So going forward is to Ms. Blessing. The question here is, if technology powers banking, businesses, and communication nationwide, because we know accountability is big on digital and advocacy and all that, Why is it considered unreliable only during elections? What is your perspective on this?
My perspective is everybody's perspective. And the reason is very clear. It's simple. It's the fact that the people that we elected in 2023, they are not ready to be accountable to us. And I keep asking myself, how many of us have seen the INEC budget? There's a budget for procurement of technologies. So my question is, if you trust technology enough to buy it, why can't you trust it enough to mandate it? If you want to spend millions and billions of naira procuring technological tools to make the election work, so how is it that when it comes to actually making it work, then it becomes a problem? So I just think it's their usual tactics, to just see how they can maneuver and have their way. But like my colleague has just mentioned, at the end of the day, it continues to increase voter apathy. People would trust the government less. People would not want to show up. Like, it's very clear with the protests happening here and there. People are already saying this next year, I'm not even voting. I voted last year, during the last election. And I trekked from Jahi to Banex, because that was where my polling unit was. And then I have friends who actually did that with me. And because I'm in the governance space, development space, I'm encouraging most of them, next year we're going to vote. And many of them are saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to do that work again. The last time I voted, what happened? So the truth is, it's very obvious that people are losing trust in the system. And we all know why all of this is happening is because they don't want to be accountable. So the reason is very clear. It's very simple.
Thank you very much for that insight, Ms. Blessing. That's quite spot on. And back to you, Ms. Honorable Moshood. So the question is, if electoral reforms fail today, what does that mean for the next generation's faith in democracy in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Actually, if the reform fails today, which likely I'm not seeing it that way, because we have pushed the National Assembly, because I'm there as a youth representative. They have been able to take some steps which are necessary. Though it might not be what people are clamoring for. But firstly, let me address something that we have to know about this electoral reform that we are talking about. That you are calling the National Assembly as a whole body to do something which is the masses they are not willing to do so far. Let's take it as example. I'm having a senator representing my senatorial district, which you're having your own as well. Why can't I start from my own senator? By way from people from my own senatorial district, calling our senator that this is actually what we want for you to present on behalf of us in this electoral reform. What is happening in current situation is just a wedding of the opposition. They are thinking is a wedding of the opposition party against the people, the current party in governance. The people in governance are feeling insecure, felt that if they are being able to push what way the masses are calling for, definitely it will be unfavorable to them. So in that, they felt it that, okay, if we are to do what you want as opposition party, then let's secure ourselves in case there's something, the negative aspect which might be why the clauses that either is being added to the issues of this electoral reform. So to me, I felt that in the next senatorial election, next presidential election, it should give us that morale to come out as a youth to change many things. We should be able to vote and stand with our vote because we want it to be counted. This is an enabling environment, not to just say we are sending, let's send the right people there, let's vote, let's stand and protect our vote. So that this reform, when we have people we trust there, then we can tell them that this is what we want, like this is what we want you to present on our behalf, not just on behalf of yourself, because even the senators that are there today are not just there. They have leaders who they listen to. They have people who give them directive. That is why when you get, yes, they are sharing formula in the Senate. You can just be a senator, you feel that yes, as a senator, you can just say anything. But when it comes to power sharing, they are not even called to the table. But when we set the right people there, when it comes to issues of electoral reform, they will be able to stand for us. They will be able to stand boldly because they know they are representing what their people want. But in a middle of a very tough situation where a senator knows that if he raises a case, I have to use a case now for as example. As of last electoral reform, which the last one that was being amended, the vote proceeding, where Senator Aberibe stood up and announced that police that he want to sponsor a motion that which is the transmission should be, no senator is ready to second. Even the Senate president asked who is to second him. But nobody, even people from the opposition, doesn't want to second because they already know what the leadership of the parliament wants. So, but if actually our senators are good enough to stand for us, the people we voted are ready to stand for us, definitely they will speak on our behalf. But for now, I feel that this current one that is being passed is an availability, it should be an educated process for us to come out and vote and also stand for our vote to be protected come 2027. So I don't see it failing because we are still on the right track currently and we'll continue pushing till the right thing is done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moshood. So thank you very much for all the insights. Going forward, in 1 minute, please each and every one on the panel will share with us a call to action. And briefly, just in 1 minute, maybe you can go next, Mr. Moshood. What is your call to action on this matter of youth participation in politics and in democracy and on the reforms that we have?
Thank you very much. To me, as a young boy who represents his senatorial district, to me, I will continue asking and requesting and also serving as the voice of the youth in my senatorial district to participate in politics, and also they should be able to stand to participate not just as an electorate but as a people who participate in the politics to become a member of a political party, and also they should make sure they fight their way up there as just we are fighting to see that we are well represented. I think that is when our voice can be heard. But as electorate, our voice might not be heard. But as people who participate, who is among the decision makers, our voice will be heard. I think that's what I have to say about this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right.
Okay, so my own call to action would be to just encourage everyone not to lose hope and just keep engaging and advocating. And then the second thing is for the youth, the citizens, to try and maximize resources. A lot of CSOs put out content every day. Budgets every day they break down budgets and what it means for the citizens. I wonder how many youths actually engage those resources. Yaga is doing the same. Accountability Lab, we had a number of radio community programs last year, but you realize that the number of people actually engaging or maximizing these resources are low. And sometimes I don't blame them, because if a system has failed me one too many times, there's that tendency to just back down and say, I'm not sure this is ever going to work for me. But I'd just like to encourage everyone to keep engaging. The more we press on, the more they know that there are citizens who are not going to back down, and the more they are forced to take action, right? So we have to keep maximizing the resources we see online and just using our platform to advocate. We have different social media platforms. Most of us here are active on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, but how often do you use those platforms, right, to voice out and just advocate for things that are not working well in your community? So for me, that would be my call to action, for us to just keep engaging.
Thank you. Yes, you can go ahead, Mr.
I think she said everything I wanted to say, but for me, I think it's just organize, don't agonize to young people in Nigeria. Yes, it's understandable to want to lose hope, to want to give up. But in the end, this is the only country we have, right? And we also have to find a way to make it work. So let's organize and don't agonize. It can be difficult, it can be challenging, but we all have a duty of care to ensure that Nigeria experiences growth and development. Thank you.
You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, one day, it will better. Maybe the one day is tomorrow. Who knows what tomorrow holds? Well, tomorrow is Wednesday. But the least we can do is to push, like literally push until something happens. On social media, I see this usual challenge, 30 days of talking to my camera. I don't know if you people see it on TikTok, 30 days of talking to my camera. But as youth, we can come out and make it 30 days of talking to my camera based on the upcoming election. We can voice out our hearts because we cannot just keep staying there without any audience and be saying, oh God, when will it get better? When will it get better? It won't get better if you just keep staying by the side or just hiding. Even if we cannot, okay, most youths, some people will say, oh, I'm camera shy, I can't come in front of the camera. The least you can do is when you see all those posts, you like, reshare, and just engage. It reaches people more. Like now, if I say, let's all of us bring out our phone, open our TikTok, scroll, most of the things that will show on my FYP, may show on his, may show on hers. It's all in sync. So, especially in our area, and it's also in sync with what's happening today. Even if you take your phone and go to ChatGPT and search what's happening today on ChatGPT, it's going to tell you everything that's happening. So we are all social media inclined. There's nobody that will say they don't use social media, they don't chat, they don't even scroll through, even if you are doom scrolling. So just have to keep engaging, keep sharing people's posts. You will not say, oh, this one is not a popular creator, let me not like. So far as the person is talking insightful things on the matter that disturbs you, or a matter that you feel like, okay, it's political, it's election wise and it needs to reach people. Keep engaging and also keep creating content and just hope for the best and also pray. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ojigi. So thank you so much for this wonderful session. Thank you so much for all the insights you shared. Really appreciate it, and I pray that everyone have learned so far from your perspectives and your ideas. Going forward, throwing up to the house, if you have any questions for the panelists, please you can raise your hand, and in 1 minute just throw your questions to them, or even observation and sharing your opinion as well. Also, please, looking at your table, you will see that there has been, you have been shared a sticky note. So we are going to do something really interesting with those sticky notes. So take out about 3 of the sticky notes given to you. And in those sticky notes, one, you can write what you feel about the current state of democracy in Nigeria. The second one, what you hope to see. And the third one, what democracy is to you. So please, when you write those 3 sticky notes, you can as well just post it there. Behind you, we have a banner that says Wall of Democracy for Stronger Reforms. You can just go there and stick it to the wall. You know, this is basically you voicing out your words and your voice as well. So please do well to do that. And as well, remember, the floor is open for questions and opinions. So please, if you have any questions of additional opinion, please raise your hand. None? Do you have any questions in the house? Okay, I think we're good. We don't really have any questions. That means the panel has done really great justice to the conversation at hand. So thank you very much, panel. Thank you so much for your participation. Oh, okay. We have a question in the house.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Chimo Okrima. I'm the station manager of Voice of the People. The question I want to ask is for everyone, because we have seen a lot of youth during the election, after the election. We have seen different advocacy. That you see them, that you see the zeal on them, that they want change, they want something to be good. But at the end of the day, when you count 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you see the same youth be in the same position, but nothing has changed. So how sure Nigeria that this youth that's in front of us now, talking to us, is going to change the situation? That's my question for everyone, please.
Okay, there's a question in the house. Who will be answering this?
Thank you very much, sir. From the question, is a very nice question, because as we know, government is all about accountability. But if there's one thing we as a Nigerian we have lost today, not just towards our leaders, is the trust. The trust is what we actually have lost. And if you don't have that lost, there's nobody you're going to vote into the system that you felt it's going to do what is right for you. But you have to believe in people you feel they are doing the right thing. I might not be the most rightful person here, but you can give me an assignment which I will be able to deliver if it's not 100%. But to an average that you have to score me a card, encourage me to do more. You understand? It's not everything that's all about criticism. It's not everything that is all about talking about the lacking aspects of me. But you have to also encourage me to do better, and also encourage those people ahead of us to do better. I think that is what it is. So when we stop losing trust in people before we give them that mandate, I think Nigeria will get better, and inshallah we'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think adding to that also as well, during the Yagas voting intentions event that was held about 2 weeks ago, I think a similar question was actually raised, and I think the manner in which in this country that we elect leaders is somehow, kind of not, how will I even put it? I won't say not the right way, because people are actually exercising their votes, but the leaders we choose most of the time, it's almost as if we don't vet on them. It's almost as if everyone is susceptible to the idea of vote buying. So they just come and then they make noise and they call out the idea that I'm here to make a change, and then you just, okay, this one will bring change to us, let's just elect him, and just put them into power. And after put them into power, there is no follow-up. At the same time, we don't pressure them, which is quite very much, there's a reason why I'm stressing on that word pressure, that they should do what is rightfully expected of them to do in most cases. So for young persons, asking whether, for example, the people who are in front seat, how are people sure that if we get there, we'll do the right thing? I think more or less is the idea of us coming out at the same time showing interest, because as a young person you have a lot in front of you, you have a lot to achieve, and you have a lot to do in the global space. So basically your focus will be about doing what you can do to make a difference, and not rather building for your own pocket like most of the people that we know are in power do. But then at the same time, when you find out our young persons come out and they want to be in power, it's almost as if they have to just follow the footsteps of the people who are already in power, because the politics in Nigeria has already shown us that you must have someone to hold on to. So, and if the moment you hold on to start somebody's leg or hand and you want to follow in their footsteps, over time you'll find yourself falling into whatever it is they have been doing. And by the time they support you into power, you have this undying loyalty to them that you don't want to, compromise, because they have been there for you and they are the reason why you're where you are. So at the end of the day, you forgot what took you there in the first place, and then you end up not doing the right thing. But I think things are changing now with the recent initiative by Yaga, Ready to Run. I think young people will now have the confidence that they don't need to follow some godfatherism, someone to hold their leg to get into power, because they believe that young people are behind them. An initiative that believes in development, in real ownership and transparency, is there to support them. They will definitely have no clue, I wouldn't even say no clue, they will definitely have no choice but to do what is rightfully expected of them. And so that's what I just have to say on that specifically. Does somebody else in the panel want to add to that? Thank you very much once again, and this brought us to the end of this panel discussion. You have something to say? Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much. We can now get back to our seats. Thank you. And please don't forget the sticky note given to you. You can write the three.
I think we can allow our panelists to launch the banner with their sticky notes.
So the sticky note question again. Sorry, pictures. Please share the questions again for the sticky notes. What you feel about the current state of democracy, the first question, what it is to you right now, and what it should look like.
After the picture, please, our panelists will launch the board and everyone else should please follow and stick their opinions. Thank you very much. I think our panelists can please move the board and stick their opinions. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon once again, all of us. It has been an enduring moment, it has been a creative moment, it has been a learning moment, and it has been a listening moment. We want to say thank you to all of you who has come here to grace this occasion today. We love you and we hope to do this with you once again. There's a light refreshment on our tables. Please, let us endeavor to have what you find on your table. It's a brief lunch for all of us, the participants. And if you look from this end, at my right hand, the other edge, you see a banner where you place your sticky note. There's a sticky note in front of your table. You write what you feel about the program, what you feel about Nigerian democracy and all of that, and you place it on that board. Thank you all. At this point, I'd like to call on Yoga. I'd like to call on Yaga Alfred for Yaga Africa, please forgive me. I would like to call on your representative for a closing remark, if you're ready, please. Please. Yaga Africa, I'd like to call on your representative. And please, there's a light refreshment on our desk. Do well to have something from us, please. It's not much, but it's the little we could do. We hope that means something. All right.
Thank you. On behalf of the Altays, who are part of the Gen Z group Yaga is engaging, would like to appreciate your presence here today. We hope that the message which has been passed in continuous engagement and not losing hope in Nigeria's democratic process will be sustained beyond this room. Thank you for your attendance and have a good day. Thank you.